Good morning, children. Today, let us study the fifth chapter, Kailash Satyarthi. Today, let us study the fifth chapter, Kailash Satyarthi, the 10 points. You know about the Kailash Satyarthi? This lesson explains who is he, how he is working. He was the human rights activist in India. He was one of the famous person in India was working for the slavery, rescue of children from the slavery. Let us study about the Kailash. Now let us watch also some photos about the child slavery work. Kailash Satyarthi, born in January 11, 1954. He born in 1954, January 11. A human rights activist from India who has been at the forefront of the global movement to end child slavery and child labor since 1980, when he gave up profitable career as an electrical engineer to start a crusade against child exploitation. He and his team have led the rescue of over 88,000 children and developed a successful model for their education and rehabilitation. He is a recipient of the 2014 Nobel Peace Prize, which he shared with Pakistan's Malala Yousafzai, the youngest ever Nobel Literature. Who is he? The Kailash Satyarthi. Dear children, let us study about the history of Kailash Satyarthi. He saved childhood movement in 1918 as the first people's movement for society, for the social justice, equality, education and peace for all children in India. He saved all marginalized and victims' children, not only in India but across the world. In the last 35 years, his efforts have resulted in the rescue of over 83,000 children and adults from child labor, trafficking and exploitative situations in India. He has transformed the lives of thousands of children working in carpet weaving, bamboo making, firecrackers industry, circus industry, log making, brassware products, agriculture labor, sari embroidery and stone quarries, bracelet making. Kailash set up rehabilitation and education centers for the free-bounded child. He has been full of risk. He has derived strength from all the risks that confronted him. He released many children from mafia. He led to the rescue of 2,000 families by the authorities from slavery and forced labor and bonded labor. So he was a famous person of the rescue of the children from the slavery of labor. Now let us study about more deeply who he was. Since his childhood, Kailash had always questioned the wrong and unjust. As a young child of 5 years, he was disturbed deeply when he saw a small boy working with his cobbler father, shining shoes at the school gate on the first day of the school. He could not understand why some children were different from him. Think that the first day of the school, when he was come to the school, he saw a cobbler boy was sitting his father, working with his father. First time, think that at the age of 5, he was, you know that the first, when you are coming to the school, the entire school, first standard school, did you think about that? No, maybe Kailash was, when he was the small boy, he was thinking about the small boy. Why this boy is working with his father, not coming to the school. I am going to school, but why he is not coming to the school? It did not take Kailash much time to understand the stark contrast between his life and that of his cobbler's son. On one hand, there was a Kailash who had a tile on his forehead and was dressed in his new school uniform and shoes. His family had performed a religious ceremony to mark the first day of his school life. Kailash was very sad about that he had seen. What he had seen that one small boy was working with his father. That scene was thinking, why, he was thinking. So that was the sad impression. He went to his classroom and asked his class teacher about the boy outside the school gate. What he did, during the class time, he asked the class teacher, why this boy is working with his father, why not coming to the school? But teacher did not give answer. He was discouraged from asking this question. He asked yet again, only to be instructed to be attentive in the class rather than thinking about what was happening. That small boy was thinking, why, what, like how? But like this he was thinking about that, he's thinking about himself, that small boy, about why he is not coming to the classroom. In the afternoon, he met the headmaster who was known to his family and asked him same question that he had asked his class teacher earlier in the day. The headmaster explained to him that it was absolutely normal for the children of the poor to work in order to survive. What the headmaster said to him, it is absolutely normal for the children of the poor in work in order to survive. They want to give money for the survive their life. So they are working. They are poor family. So they can't come to the school. Like that, the headmaster explained to this Kailash. Kailash was still not convinced with the answer that he got. He was not happy because what HM said, it is their duty, or it was for survey. They are living for, they are working in the school gate. He would stare at the boy every time he entered. Kailash was not convinced with the answer that he got. For the next week or 10 days, he would stare at the boy every time he entered or left his school building. One day, he mustered the courage to ask the cobbler. One day, he directly go to that cobbler and ask, why don't you send your son to school like me? What question he asked? Why don't you send me your son to school like me? The cobbler replied. The cobbler, what he replied in frail voice. It is low voice. He said, Bapuji, no one has ever asked me a question like this. What he said, no one asked me like this same question. Never asked me. My father worked as a cobbler. I am a cobbler and my son also a cobbler. But what his answer? My father worked as a cobbler. I am a cobbler and my son also a cobbler. There is nothing new in it. We are born to work. We are born to work. His answer left Kailash more confused than before. He kept thinking about what was cobbler, he said. Kailash's parents had told him that everybody is born to do good deeds, attain good education, get a good job, and earn respect for oneself in society. But when by were the cobbler and his son on a different journey in life, why did the cobbler's story match what Kailash's father had explained to him about his life? Days passed, but the angst kept breathing somewhere deep down. It was the rainy season. Kailash's elder brother brought him a raincoat and a colorful umbrella. One day he saw the cobbler beating his son. The boy was crying inconsolably. Kailash inquired of the cobbler why he was beating his son. What happened? One day, it was a rainy season. Kailash's elder brother brought him a raincoat and a colorful umbrella. One day, he saw the cobbler beating his son. The boy was crying and crying. Kailash inquired of the cobbler why he was beating his son. He said, I had gone through land and had asked my son to cover the shoes with a plastic sheet should it rain. This fool, instead of protecting the shoes, chose to trap himself in the plastic sheet that I had given to him. All the shoes that people had left here for mending are red. The leather will spoil soon. These are expensive shoes. I have nowhere to go now. My customers will ask me to pay back what they had spent on their shoes. I bravely made ends meet with great difficulty. How will I pay back my customers? Look what a mess I have landed into the just because of this foolish boy. Now you have heard the story of the Kailash, what happened in the childhood. He was always a good person. Kailash was a good person. When he see others' difficulties, he also feel something inside. Dear children, it is a good lesson for us that Kailash gave us through his life history. Dear children, how the cobbler beat the son? You know, because when the rainy season, rain was very heavy rain, that time the boy what did? The boy took the plastic sheet to rescue him, but the cobbler was angry with his son because there was more shoes the people had left there for mending, and friends, the leather will spoil soon. He did not care about his son, but the shoes will spoil. That's why he is worried. So he beated his small child. These are expensive shoes. I have nowhere to go now. My customers will ask me to pay back what I had spent their shoes. That is why the cobbler beat his son. Kailash was shocked. He was seeing all this scene. Kailash was shocked. On one hand, he was standing there with the rainbow and the umbrella that his brother had purchased to rescue, that he did not get wet. You think that Kailash he has umbrella and raincoat. Both he has, but this poor boy, cobbler son, has nothing. Even he has no plastic also. When he took the plastic, his father also beat him. Look, Kailash was thinking why this boy was crying. Why this boy was crying? Because he has no umbrella and no raincoat. Kailash was shocked. On one hand, he was standing there with a raincoat and umbrella that his brother had purchased to ensure that he did not go wet. On the other hand, there was this cobbler who was just not concerned about his son getting wet in the rain. All that he has worried about the shoes and of his customers. Instantly, he handed over his favorite colorful umbrella to the boy. What the Kailash what he did? He gave to his umbrella to this boy. It was a colorful and new umbrella. So what the Kailash gave to this poor boy, his umbrella. Because he anyway had a raincoat as a backup. Therefore, he did not think twice before parting with his umbrella. This incident moved Kailash to the core. This was when he was a small child. What happened? When he was trying some time, the boy Kailash was given to his umbrella at the poor boy, small boy, and he is a cobbler boy. He was a generous, and he was thinking about others. That's why he shared his umbrella with the boy. Now, let us conclude today, and this part let us see next class. Thank you, children.